we all know there's two sides of Dallas. You got the hood niggas.
Yeah.
You got the niggas, the hipsters. We like to call them the hipsters. You know, they wear their jeans a little tighter, skateboard, swag. You know, lyricism. You know, there. It's two different sides of Dallas. You know, and I don't think either side respects one another because they don't know one another. And I think you're kind of in the middle. I will put you more on the hipster side. Not saying you're a hipster, but because you're more associated with the hipster side.
Okay.
So, how would you define each side?
Yeah, you could say that. You could say the side that's considered the hood side is more so like just that hood. You know what I mean? And you got the Puka Leroy's, the QPs, those cats, the Trap Boy Freddy's, and those guys on that side, like they're more so about getting in the club and getting the streets behind them, which is on the other side. You know what I'm saying? What's considered the hipster side, the hip hop side, is just man, they're more about just building a following, just however. You know what I mean? They're just more so a part of the scene, and that's kind of really the difference that I've seen anyway.
Now, you know, the hipster side, they don't really like that people call them the hipster side. Explain that reason.
Man, I think it's just they don't like to be labeled. You know what I mean? Like, just you got certain people that do things a certain way or kind of an unorthodox way. They just don't like being labeled. That's all it is.
Right. Now, is there a way that bridge can be gapped? Because a lot of people tried in the past, but I just feel, my opinion, I feel as though their cultures are totally different. You know, their backgrounds are totally different. And even if you did try to bridge that gap, it wouldn't be genuine.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think you can do so. I mean, just people just really need to be willing to step outside of their boundaries. I mean, you got to think Fat Pimp's last project that he had ADD on the cover too. You know what I mean? And I think you're gonna hear the Outfits working with somebody here pretty soon. And so it's like those sides, those gaps, they can be bridged easily. Just people that need to be willing to step outside of their zone. I think it's more so. I think it's a little bit of both because you have the artists, they need to want to expand, and then you have the scene, they got to want to do events that bring both sides. I think so. It's a little bit of both.
For sure. Now, you just released a mixtape 3 months ago, 3 months ago. Give us a little bit of the reaction and the feedback you got from that project.
Man, we had a great response from the project. Is When Stars Align, we released a couple months ago. And the only negative feedback that I got from it was that people were saying the production of it was kind of outdated, which to my knowledge, I didn't know whether the beats were old or whatever. I mean, but in my lane, one thing I wanted to do was just create a story and get that story off my chest. And once I did that, I was good. I mean, the release show was packed. You know what I mean? All the people came out, all the blogs picked it up that we wanted to. Couldn't ask for more.
Right. Now, you're known for, selling a high quality and a high quantity of clothing and merch, selling a lot of tickets, hitting the streets. In that aspect, how do you do that? Like, what are some tips you can give the up-and-coming artists who are always on the web?
Man, you just got to pride yourself on the hustle. That's all it is, man. Like, whether you got a day job and you do this after, or you just strictly do this, like, you got to pride yourself on the hustle. You could always want more, you know what I mean? It's just like, when you sitting at the crib, or sometimes these cats be playing the game, or they be smoking or whatever, they got to think to themselves, like, what more can I be doing? Can I be sending these emails? Can I be tweeting my music out to people? Or can I be going to take $500 and get 100 shirts and try to flip them and turn that to $1,200, $1,500, even $2,000? People just got to want to hustle, that's all.
Now, speaking on Dallas, a lot of people in Dallas, when it comes to hip hop, complain about politics.
Yeah.
You got my blog, you got 4 or 5 other blogs who have their own following. If you had to explain the difference of each blog, you have Central Track, you have Dallas Observer, you have Say Cheese, you have The Irish. How would you describe each one of them?
You got the politics definitely come into play. You know what I mean? When you say somebody like Central Track, it's just like you kind of have to support them first before they support you. Like, they're not going to go looking for you. They're not going to check out your music if you send it to them. You have to support them first. And that's exactly what I did. And the next thing you know, the next day, I was on their blog. With Say Cheese, it was just about building that relationship. That's all it was. Just seeing me out, seeing the work. And then I remember one of the first couple of times we conversed, it was just like, yo, you working. Send me your stuff. Then you take somebody like Chan Lo, you know what I mean? Like, she's not going to just post anybody. There's maybe 3 or 4 artists she's going to post. If you got somebody like Cosign is going to post anybody who's active. It makes sense, and of course it still has to be good. You know what I mean? And that's just the kind of the difference. People each have their own criteria.
For sure. Now, as far as the certain blogs, or certain outlets only post certain people. If you go look at them, you know, you have, I don't want to say any names because that's not what we're here to do, but, you know, Dallas Observer,
Okay.
for one, they only post that Blue the Misfit, ADD, all day long, Sam Loud.
Okay.
Is it, what can we do as far as outlets to help the artists?
I think it's just kind of be willing to hear new talent. You know what I mean? You take into consideration somebody like the Observer, and it's the writers that they have over there. They're top heavy. You know what I mean? They only know Blue, they only know ADD, they only know Sam Loud, Buffalo Black. You know what I mean? And you know, those artists, they all do a great job. It's just they're only top heavy. You know what I mean? They just recently started branching out and hearing about Lord Byron and Brandon Ford, and you know the younger cast, the Spectacle. And so I mean, but even then, it's just like they haven't always been open to it. And again, those are one of those people you have to have a relationship with them.
Right, for sure. Now, touching that base, a lot of the hip hop artists, hipster artists, they don't like me. They don't fuck with Say Cheese. That's cool. Now, the Dallas Observer and the other blogs, it's like the hood artists run to me, but the hipsters run to them.
Yeah.
And I don't really like that because I've reached out to Blue before. I reached out to certain artists, and you know they didn't reach back.
Okay.
So that's when I was asking you earlier, how can we bridge that gap? You know, it's like the artists don't like leaving that circle that they're in. And I'm coming to you because you're on both sides. I'm not trying to put you in
I don't know. I'm comfortable with it, but even then, for the most part, it's like they feel comfortable in that realm. You know what I mean? Like I know the other day, like Ric Flair tweeted out something about Blue. He was saying like Blue's played Trees like the last 10 times, like his last 10 shows. Like even though it was negative, there was truth to that. You know what I mean? Like I think he was speaking on Blue and Sam's manager Vince, which you know he manages ADD as well. But you know he's getting them quality shows, and they're packing out these venues. Like last week was sold out with Sarah Jaffe. You know, anybody who knows Sarah Jaffe, she was on the Eminem album. You know what I mean? Real nice lady. But I mean, even then, there was truth to that. And you got to be willing to get outside of your realm and want to do other things. Like I know Blue goes down to Austin, and just a couple of artists go here and there, but you just got to want to be. You gotta want to get outside of it. Like with me personally, I pride myself on trying to get with this person, trying to make sure I'm posting on all of them. I don't want to miss anybody.
Right. Now, as far as the open mics that you mentioned, the shows here and there, you know, the big concerts, being a part of that, how beneficial are those little events and you know functions?
And you got to be there. You got to be there. You got to want to be a part of it. You know what I mean? Whether you have CDs or stickers, or whether you're there shaking hands, or whether you're there in your merch, you gotta want to be there. I mean, like I said, I prided myself on my team. We pride ourselves on doing the tickets because that was one of the only ways to get people to listen to us, to hear us. And now every time, you know, every quarter we like to do like 2 or 3 big shows. You know what I'm saying? So it's benefited us. I can't say it's gonna work for everybody, but if you're not wanting to sell tickets, if you're not willing to do that, it's 1 or 2 reasons. Either A, you lazy, or B, you don't know how to negotiate your cut. And a lot of cats are doing that.
Right. Now, speaking on, you know, is it possible to oversaturate yourself in the Dallas hip hop scene?
Definitely. We're releasing too much music. It's never a bad thing to be seen a lot. But I mean, in terms of like the music, like you can't put out a mixtape first quarter and put out another one second quarter because you gotta give people time to receive the first one. So you have to really plan it out. I mean, not to say that there's really a guide for it or really a structure, but you gotta just kind of plan it out and say, okay, well, I'll maybe give this one 6 months, and then maybe I'll do something, or maybe I'll do one big thing a month. It's just, you just gotta pace yourself.